And welcome into another episode of Tiger Territory, part of the Foul Territory Network, a Detroit Tigers podcast. I'm Kieran Steckley. With me, as always, is a man who puts the chill in chili. He is Cody Stavenhagen. How you doing?
Ooh, chili, Kieran. Beans or no beans?
No beans. Non-starter.
True Texas style right there. I actually like beans and chili, I'm gonna be honest.
Well,
You know what I don't like? I don't like 3 errors. I don't like meltdowns. I don't like injuries. Sunday, man, probably the worst vibes day, maybe all season, right? I mean, not obviously the 8th inning was bad. I don't care about that game really. We're gonna get over it. The players are gonna move on. It'll be fine. But the Tigers pitching, we've been kind of talking about this for a while. Suddenly, it's in a pretty bad spot. That was before the Will Vest scare. I mean, you got rid of Brebbia today, which you can argue maybe that's going to be an upgrade. We'll talk about that here in a second. But you're being put to the test, and the vibes leaving the park, combination of an ugly game and just really seeing this pitching in a bad spot. We're not great.
Yeah, so if we're gonna do the whole overreaction thing, it's well, you finally blew a lead in the latter third of the game. So now you weren't gonna go the whole 162 games without doing that. But the reality was, it's just in some ways it's how it looks. So if you guys aren't subscribed to our YouTube, you should. I'm wearing my Spencer Turnbull no hitter shirt, and the reason I'm wearing it is this kind of reminded me of a Tigers game from years past. You know what I mean? It reminded me of all right, you got a couple, you got to lead late, and then you kind of lost it. I don't want to say give it away because the other team earns it, but you lost it in dumb fashion. Could you have seen the 2021, 2022 Tigers having an inning get away from them because a pitcher couldn't underhand toss a ball to first base?
I think I've seen it happen with Gregory Soto. Here, I called my dad. Happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I called my dad, and he watched the game. He was like, man, that was probably their worst game all year. And it was yeah, in a way, that's good. That's the only time that's really happened this year. We used to see that all the time.
Yeah, and so it wasn't aesthetically pleasing in any fashion, and the shame is that we don't get to really kind of glow about Jahmai Jones hitting a home run, about Riley Green hitting what I don't know. I didn't see what the measurement was, but I'm sure that's a home that double
feet, 21 ballparks.
21 ballparks. Okay, so that's actually lower than I thought it would be, but still, he crushed that ball, and all that is just kind of lost. I mean, even Javi Baez doing some things with the bat. All that is lost because of just this dumb way of losing the game. So I tried to kind of reach for, I don't want to say reasons or excuses, but just how do I best kind of summarize some of these things that we saw? So Herter, gets that going with the error, like we said. Low key, Cody, Herter's your most used reliever. He's actually your most used pitcher, period, if you take away the starters, in terms of innings pitched. So, I don't know. Is that something that could contribute to it? I don't know, but it's something that I looked up and kind of validated what I had. Same thing with McKinstry. Not an error, but not cleaning. Oh man, words twist. Fielding cleanly a ground ball, a double play possibility, and you get 0 outs out of it. Part of that is the base running of Ellie De La Cruz, obviously, but you get 0 outs out of that. Zach McKinstry made his 60th start today. Last season, he didn't play in his 60th game until July 8th. He's obviously being used a lot more, is all I'm saying. And then obviously Javi playing multiple positions and still your elder statesman on the field. I'm not saying, again, not reasons or excuses, but these are just things that were apparent to me. And of course, Sawyer Gibson Long, haven't been playing that much baseball the last 12 months. So these are just kind of things that I looked up and kind of came to mind as to sort of help paint the fuller picture of what was obviously a really ugly sight over there at Comerica.
Okay, yeah, another weird thing that kind of went unnoticed in all the chaos. Remember several weeks ago, AJ Hinch said there is no blueprint, or what was answer key? There is no answer key. There's basically, you're still advocating for feel. And I was like, I mean, that's true. And obviously the Tigers do some human element type things that has helped made this team very good. But AJ's players are almost always in like a mathematical position to succeed. I thought it was strange that Will Vest entered to face Elly De La Cruz. Elly De La Cruz is a switch hitter, and he is a lot better against right-handed pitching, a 951 OPS entering that game. I thought he would have Herder go 2 more batters to face Elly one more time. De La Cruz is the name you circle in that lineup that scares you a little bit. He would have had to face McLean, a right-handed hitter, but it's not like McLean absolutely terrorizes lefties, kind of average hitter against lefties, whereas Elly absolutely kills right-handed pitching. He put in Will Vest. I mean, you tell Vest was trying to attack him. It went with the changeup. They got hit. Got him to 2 strikes. Elly put a good swing on the ball. It was a rare case, honestly, where it's felt to me like AJ went against the numbers. He said later, he's trying to get out of that inning. He wanted the best guy on the mound. So that's what he went with. And in a way, it ended up costing them. And then obviously the errors more than anything in a wild pitch cost them dearly.
Yeah. I mean, again, it was just a straight unraveling that like very uncharacteristic of what we've watched this year. And like the way, as I was watching this game and I was thinking about how I was going to talk about it with you, part of me was like, I'm not sure I want to talk about it in a way of, all right, they had all these things happen to them and they still won the game. You know what I mean? I felt like they deserved to lose, and then they got the justified results. You know what I mean? And so like it felt to me like a win in that game would have had people fooling themselves and bringing up like the gritty stuff, which again is valid and fair, but like it's not gritty when you can't toss the ball underhand 15 feet. You know what I mean? So I think they should have to eat this game and eat this series, quite frankly, because you were non-competitive, obviously, the vast majority of Saturday's game, and then you were not looking like a competent baseball team at the end of this game. So like this is something that they're going to have to stew on a little bit, and people can't just like look up and be like, well, the gritty Tigers did it again. No, I mean, you can't just rely on the grittiness sometimes. Sometimes you just got to make the play. Sometimes you got to make the right decision. Sometimes you got to call the right pitch, and so like it felt like a weekend, like you should have given a better showing and you didn't. And the reasons why, as we're going to talk about, like they are like real concerns. Now it looks like everybody in the division has lost or will lose today. So you're feeling okay there. But at the same time, these are issues that we've noticed for a while. And then therefore they're starting to percolate a little bit, and that's worth noting. We're going to talk about more of those, but first, a word from our sponsors.
It is summertime. We are in the thick of golf season. It's always golf season down in Florida, but we're in the thick of golf season across the country, and someone's looking to get a new club. That logo should say it all. PXG. What do they do?
Go get fitted. Mm-hmm. Go get fitted by one of their master fitters, professional fitters. I've done it. It's helped shave many strokes off my handicap. It is worth it. It's educational. You learn about not only clubs, you learn about shafts, you learn about grips, you learn about angles. They have all the numbers, all the setups that you need to help improve your handicap.
You feel like a VIP when you're there.
100%. They even help my putting, which needed help.
Mm-hmm. They help your putting there. That's how cool it is. So schedule your fitting today, and for a limited time, you could save up to 20% on your entire order. Head over to pxg.com/foul. That's pxg.com/foul to save up to 20% on your entire order. pxg.com/FOUL. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
All right, coming back here. I did have one kind of thing that I've been like going back and forth on my mind about this for a while, Cody. But now I have some numbers that I just want to share with you and share with everybody. That's Kerry Carpenter. Like Kerry Carpenter is having like it's just kind of, it's a weird season. I've said this before. It's weird. It's a weird season to kind of wrap your arms around to kind of get like a full gist, because he's made some stellar defensive plays. He has the hamstring that is oh so apparent. He's getting no breaks on the base pass in terms of taking the extra base. So it's like if you're out there, then you're expected to do it no matter what, I guess. The standard is the standard, as they say. And then at the plate, we know the whole lefty thing, and it hasn't really become a talking point all that much. But he had the 3 home run game in Chicago, Cody. And then he had a 2-double game as well on June 8th. Those are his only extra base hits this month, and for an everyday player of his caliber. And then he had an RBI on May 20th. So May 21st on that 3 home run game, that's his only runs driven in that time frame. So like, if you feel like there's a lack of productivity, and there is a stretch here where he is not being all that productive at the plate to his capability. And right now he's kind of like an all or, not that much guy at the plate, especially. And he can't give you anything on the base pass. So it's like, what's going on and where are we going? Those are my 2 questions.
Well, Kieran, the at-bats have not been very good. I'd like to say uncharacteristic from what we've seen from Kerry Carpenter in the past, but here for almost a month, 61 plate appearances, 0 walks. That's pretty telling in itself. His chase rate is in the bottom 9 percentile. He's chasing 4 percentage points more often than he was last year. He's swinging at the first pitch a lot more often. He's swinging in general more often, and I think that's getting him in trouble. Now, he's a name out there now. People know how to attack him. He's getting a lot of high stuff, some pitches that aren't easy to handle. Maybe that's putting him in some disadvantaged counts, and then he's chasing. But it seems like you're seeing a little bit of an unraveling of his approach that he hasn't quite been able to snap out of here for a little bit. And I'm worried about him physically. We all see it. We see him running, and it's ugly. I don't know if that's affecting him at the plate. I've talked to Kerry about this. He says it's not. But at a time where he is clearly physically hampered and cannot run 100%, he's also not being productive at the plate. Kind of has me want, dude, is it worth it? Like, I respect trying to play through an injury. You don't want to lose Kerry Carpenter to an IL stint, except the Kerry Carpenter we've been seeing lately is not really Kerry Bonds. So I'm sure he'll snap out of this, right? He's going to start hitting. But I think he's got to reel back the chase, and then obviously I hope that hamstring is going to get better at some point. He's got to be able to round third base.
That doesn't happen though. Like, that's just like the hamstring gets better. It just like there's no way
it
for
requires rest to get better, right? And they're about to see some lefties, so he's going to get some more time off, but kind of feels like a Band-Aid, and I hope a Band-Aid's enough.
Well, you said you've talked to him about it, obviously, being around the clubhouse stuff. Like, how does he seem in general, not necessarily specific to, this thing or that thing, but there are real waves with the Kerry Carpenter experience, and he's, AJ's unwavering in the responsibility that is put on him. And then you throw the injury, just how is he?
No, he seems to me like he's doing great. And I'm sure he's frustrated, not playing that well, for a little bit here, but I haven't noticed a change in his mood. Talking to him Sunday morning, he seemed, pretty adamant about wanting to continue playing, and talked about the pregame routine with the trainers and such to take care of the hamstrings, but I did kind of ask, you wouldn't be out here if there was fear you could make this injury worse, right? And I'd have to read off the exact quote, but I kind of felt like he said, no, that's a little bit of a concern. I should probably read off the exact quote. I don't have it in front of me. We'll get it with our producers on that. And yeah, so that's kind of what's up with Kerry Carpenter right now.
Okay, well, yeah. And while you're getting to that, I will say, I do want to give him credit, because this hamstring thing it's been a thing for a bit now. And it's not like he's been highlightless in that time. Like
true too.
you know, so like I don't want to say like I don't want people to think that I'm thinking he's a zero production wise, but like it's clearly a thing, and we're in mid-June, and you know, like dude, in theory you're gonna be playing like 5 more months of baseball. Like
here's the quote. There's the thought that it could get worse. Yes. But that is something we have to deal with. I don't think it's going to get worse. We're doing everything we can pregame to make sure it doesn't get worse.
I mean,
take what you will from that.
Yeah, almost seems like, yeah, you can get hurt anytime. So, might as well play, I guess. But yeah, you're right, because we've seen this before with like key players and hamstrings. It was a thing last year as well. So yeah, there's like, I don't want to say I'm concerned about Kerry per se, but I'm monitoring everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the theme of this whole episode, Kieran, is like, everything is still great. This team has an 8.5 game division lead. But that doesn't mean that they're perfect. That doesn't mean there aren't issues. That doesn't mean we can't talk about those issues. The sky is not falling when you have an 8.5 game division lead. But we're now talking about a team that is trying to win an American League pennant. And we're seeing some issues creep up that are beginning to become big deals, I think. And so we're talking about it.
Yeah, and it's all everything is framed with like what this team could do in the end game. Mm-hmm. Everything's framed around that. So like I appreciate like the upping the ante conversation wise from the fans and then the media, and the way you guys ask questions. Like everything is with October in mind, and that's a good thing. But like there are going to be some pieces that are going to have to be added to this team if you want to get to that end game. And we'll talk about one of the changes that the Tigers made in their pitching department. But first, a word from our sponsors.
It might be that time. If you're looking for a new car, there's one place to go that is going to take care of you, and it's Car Gurus.
Yeah, looking for a car should be fun, not exhausting. Everywhere else, it's exhausting. You're dodging people. You're trying to just, can I look at this car? Car Gurus, you type in your search, you find the color that you want, it narrows it down for you, and all of a sudden you're like, this has been an exciting experience, and you got a great deal.
With over 4 million listings, Car Gurus has more car listings than any other major online automotive marketplace in the U.S., so you can find the best deal. It's no wonder SimilarWeb estimated traffic data shows Car Gurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site. Buy or sell your next car today with Car Gurus at cargurus.com. Go to cargurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's cargurus.com. cargurus.com.
All right, Cody. Sometimes AJ is very hard to read. Sometimes AJ is very easy to read. And when I don't want to laugh and make light of somebody, essentially getting fired. So, I want to take this with the right amount of grace. But when John Brebbia went out on Saturday into the game after pitching on Friday, that's back-to-back blowouts. I was like, I don't know if he's long for this Detroit Tigers world. And then, of course, Sunday morning they announced that he has been designated for assignment, and Tyler Owens gets the call up. John Brebbia, in his brief time with the Tigers, had a negative .6 WAR and sported a 7.71 ERA. It never really felt like he had his full command like this season, and it was pretty apparent early on that AJ was going to use him in I guess you could say special situations, and eventually that's just not good roster management to do that. And you know it had to be bad for the Tigers to move on from somebody who has a team option. Yeah. Scott Harris loves those team options. So John Brebbia no longer a member of the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, Brebbia was the one off-season signing that just always felt strange to me. Like, he was a project. He was very bad last season with in his time with the White Sox. He was a little better at the end of the year. And so you point that out. You look at some of his past, and you look at, how he grades out on pitch modeling. And it's like, well, okay, give the Tigers the benefit of the doubt. They're taking a chance on this guy, but they didn't really. It felt weird to kind of force a little bit of a project into the end of the bullpen. And then that project just didn't work out. I mean, he was brought here for his fastball. That even last year, 102 stuff plus. It was an above league average fastball in terms of just like the characteristics of the pitch. Fastball is bad this year. 89 stuff plus, easily the worst of his career. And he wasn't low, like the velo was down a little bit. The pitch, I think, was a little more horizontal and maybe not in a good way. And then ultimately the location was poor. The thought was he's got a good fastball. The Tigers wanted to help him improve some secondary stuff. And when the fastball wasn't there, the secondary stuff kind of didn't matter. And when the location wasn't there, it was either, out of the zone or damage. It just wasn't a good recipe, and it wasn't really getting better. And in a timeline where you're trying to win as many games as you can, there wasn't really room to hang on to the project. So unfortunately, I think we all saw it coming. We saw how AJ used him this past weekend, got all you could out of it. Unfortunate. I really like John Brebbia. He's a nice guy. He's a very funny guy. But this was a move that had to be made, and this was a signing that didn't work out. And unfortunately, now we're talking about the pitching being on thin ice. One of the reasons it's on thin ice, for as many great things as this team and this front office has accomplished the past few years, you add up Kenta Maeda, Alex Cobb, John Brebbia, and like 3 pretty big misses, and that's one big reason that the pitching's pretty dicey right now.
Yeah, I mean, it feels, even though we've been monitoring it, it does almost feel like it's still snuck up, because like, especially with this vest thing, whatever that ends up being, which there's probably not much to talk about right now because we don't know like the full injury, but
A weird feeling in his pinky. What does that even mean? Is that,
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's like if he misses anytime, that's half of your, like, that's literally 50% of your end game moves.
Will Vest and Tommy Kahnle have kind of been godsends, because pretty much the entire, I mean, I guess Chase Lee and Brent Herter have done some good things, but
they have.
The rest of your bullpen's been straight up bad, honestly.
Straight up bad, or just like underachieving based on what you believe. Like, the Holton. Yeah. Holton obviously hasn't been.
Yeah. Holton hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been Tyler Holton.
Yeah. So, I mean, you there's always arms. I'm sure they'll find some, but I'll ask the question that I ask every single time: why not Matt Manning as my my favorite?
I think it's possible. I think we're getting to a point where that's not out of the realm of possibility, just because you need somebody,
somebody, and he's on the 40. So it's like what's, in my opinion, and I've said this before, in my opinion, I don't see what the point of having him hold a 40 spot if these situations are happening and you can't find any use for him. So anyway, maybe it will finally come down to that. And as we wrap up, kind of like a simpler podcast, I don't have any like analysis for it, but man, the whole Jahmai Jones thing, it's still fun. It's still fun. It's still awesome.
Start out 7 for 13. I think he's going to be here for a second.
I mean,
good for him, man.
Yeah, and you could tell like the guy has a great enthusiasm for the game, and he obviously 7 of 13, so it's not like groundbreaking, but he's quickly acclimated to this specific type of role. Mm-hmm. Like one of the reasons that you loved watching Andy Ibanez in years past is that like he felt good about basically being a relief hitter. You know what I mean? Like it was like he carried himself in a way that it was like an enthusiastic thing for somebody who's not going to start every day, might not play every day. And Jones has kind of taken that mantle almost literally, while also doing the Justin Henry Malloy, batting leadoff, DHing, getting pinch hit for Kerry Carpenter aspect of the team. So shout out to Jemai, shout out to Riley for having himself a weekend. These are all these things that we could have been like, going on and on about, but it feels weird after that game to kind of speak glowingly about it. Maybe that's unfair on our end, but that's how it feels right now.
I mean, Saturday wasn't good either, Kieran.
Yeah.
Sunday was so ugly it saved us from another Jack Flaherty conversation. Like,
Yeah.
Let me make this. I don't know. Right when we thought Jack had it figured out, it was worst start of the year. That's the Jack Flaherty experience, I guess.
Yep, that's the Jack Flaherty experience. We've run that roller coaster time and time again. But
and try to stop riding it so much, except when we're kind of been talking about a roller coaster. So I don't know what else we're supposed to do.
Well, you got the Pirates coming up. That hopefully, will help. And then you'll obviously get Skubal on the mound in this series. And that, in theory should help things along a little bit. And this month is characterized by having Mondays off. So hopefully this is some sort of rest and recovery aspect for the team as well this month, because there are times where it does look like a little bit more running on fumes than not. And that's all part of it. That's part of the season in general. So, and by the way, it's a lot harder to run when everybody's chasing you. So they never experienced this before, obviously, except for, some of the older cats on there. Glaber, by the way, want to shout out Glaber for his Friday. And we'll be talking about him this week. That's a tease there, Cody. Anything else you want to get into before we jet out of here?
No, that's it. I want to reiterate, Tigers have a comfortable lead in the AL Central. They're in a good spot. This is still fun, but they've hit a little bit of a rough patch, or even more than that. There are just some pretty big questions that are going to continue to be questions probably leading up to the trade deadline. So there's some things to pay attention to here as the Tigers try to really assert themselves as a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. And again, gotten some help on, from the rest of Major League Baseball that it's not really all that alarming. So long season, the team that we see right now is not going to be the team that we see in August and September and, looking like October. So we're going to probably laugh at moments like this. There's a good chance. This is a good team. We're going to laugh about how seriously we were concerned about XYZ in a couple months, but sometimes you got to allow yourself to be a prisoner of the moment. All right. You can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Cody Stavenhagen. I'm at Kieran_Steckley. Pod page at Tiger Territory _ YouTube, Instagram, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We appreciate all of you. So for Cody Stavenhagen, I am Kieran Steckley. Everybody have a great day.